Hello, in this tutorial we are going to learn how to advertise a network service over MDNS using the ESP32 and the Arduino Core. As target port, I'm going to be using an ESP32 Firebit board from DFRobot. So our network service will be a very simple HTTP web server, pretty much like we have covered in the previous tutorial. This using the ESP-async web server libraries to expose that server. So we have covered it already in other tutorials. I'm going to leave a link in the description to a recent tutorial where you can see how to set it up, how to install the libraries, and how to put up a very simple example of an HTTP web server. But our code will be focused here on the MDNS part. From the other side, in order to have like a program also consuming this information, we are going to write a very simple Python script using the zeroconf library, which basically allows us to read the information of a given service type over MDNS, get the information about that service, and then we are going to use the IP address advertised there to make a HTTP request to our ESP32 server. So, but jumping right to the code, the first thing we are going to do is importing the ASP.MDNS.H library. Basically, this comes by default with Arduino Core, like we have covered before. So we don't need to install any additional resource to have access to the MDNS functionalities. We are going to need the Wi-Fi.h, like we usually do when we want to connect the ESP32 to the Wi-Fi network, and after that we are going to need the ESP-async web server.h library. It's the one that we need to install if you haven't done so yet, and basically allows us to set up the HTTP web server. So after that, we need to define the credentials of the Wi-Fi network to which we want to connect, more precisely the name of the network or SSID and the password, and naturally you need to replace these placeholders by the actual credentials of your network. After that, we need to define an object of class async web server. This object will be used by us to call some methods to set up the server, to configure routing the server, and then to make it listen to incoming requests. As input of this, the constructor of this class, we need to pass an integer that basically corresponds to the network port where the ESP32 will be listening to the incoming requests. Moving on to the Arduino setup, the first thing we need to do, like we do before in pretty much every tutorial, is opening a serial connection so we can write some content to later be read in the Arduino IDE serial monitor, and then connecting the ESP32 to the Wi-Fi network using the previously defined credentials. Past this point, what we need to do is basically setting up the MDNS responder. This is really easy. We just need to call the begin method on this external variable called MDNS. It becomes available by importing the MDNS library that we have seen at the top. And basically, as input of this method, we need to pass a string with the host name of our ESP32. And basically, this host name can be translated in the IP address of the ESP32. This method call returns a boolean value indicating if it was successful or not, and we are doing here a very simple error checking, printing a message to the user to tell him if in case something goes wrong. So there's no point in trying to continue with the rest of the procedure if we could not start the MDNS responder. So past this point, and assuming everything went fine, we want to register our service to be advertised using MDNS, and for that effect, we just need to call the add_service method again on the MDNS external variable. And as input, first input, we need to pass a string with the name of our network service. I'm calling it HTTP because basically we are exposing an HTTP web server, and this name for this service is aligned to what we typically use to expose such service. Okay, so this is the name, and there's a list. I can leave it in the description. There's a list of common names that we assign to the services that fit a given typology. Then as second input, we need to pass a string with the protocol, the transport layer protocol over which our service works. In our case, our HTTP web server is working over TCP. Other service, for example, run over UDP. These are, I would say, the typical values we use here. And basically, in our case, it should be TCP. As third and last parameter, we need to pass we need to pass the number of the port where the service is working, over which the service is working. And like we have seen before, it's port 80, the default HTTP port. And that's it. Let me just give you a note. So typically, or the lower layer libraries and by default or by these protocols guidelines, so this name should be pre-appended with underscore. Okay, so basically if we watch and if we check the implementation of this add service method, if we don't pass it like we are doing here, basically it will check if the first character is an underscore, and in case it is not, it will add it for us. So this is important not for the Arduino side, because as I've said, this will be appended for us if we don't do it. But then when we are looking for this service type, and basically just giving an heads up, these two values here will represent the service type. When we are looking for it, we need to include the underscores, and even the library that we are going to use, the Python library, will throw an error if we don't include the underscore pre-appended to these two names, because it's a requirement from the protocol. So basically, as I was saying, this will be added for us, but keep this note for when we are going to analyze the Python code. As an additional procedure, this is not needed, but in case we want, we can add properties in the format of key value pairs. We can add properties with additional information about our service, and to do so we just need to call this add service txt method, and again, to identify the service type, we pass the name of the service, the protocol over which the service is working, it should match what we have done before, and then as third parameter we pass a string with the name of the property, and as fourth and last parameter we pass the value of that property. And we can, if we want to add multiple properties, we need to call this method multiple times. But again, these two lines of code here are optional. If we don't have anything to add additional to our service information, we don't need to do this. In this case, as you can see here, I'm doing this with some dummy properties just for illustration purposes. So past this point, I'm just printing here the local IP address assigned to the ESP32 on the network. The point is we should not need to check a serial monitor or something to get this IP address. There's the whole point of MDNS. I'm just printing it so we can confirm that the value we're obtaining here is exactly the same we are going to obtain in the Python side. After that, we just need to register a route. So for our HTTP web server to expose at least one endpoint, it will be a route called /hello, and then it will basically answer to HTTP GET requests, and then this function here, this is declared using C++ Lambda syntax. Basically, this function here it will be triggered when the HTTP GET request is performed on this route. And as you can see here, as implementation, we are returning to the user a 200 HTTP response, indicating that it was okay, the request was successfully processed, and the output will be a simple hello world message and the content type will be plain text. So basically just something to illustrate that our service is working. Past this point, we just need to call this begin method on our server object, and it should start listening to HTTP requests. Since this is an asynchronous implementation of the HTTP web server, so obviously the MDNS part that we have covered is independent of how we expose our service. We could have been using the native web server implementation from the Arduino core, which, for example, relies on polling. We could be exposing our HTTP server handling raw socket connection. So we could do this in a lot of multiple ways because the MDNS part is independent of this implementation of the service. In this case, I've chosen the synchronous HTTP web server, which is very easy to use and to set up. And due to that fact, we don't need to pull any variable or any object here in the Arduino main loop, so we can simply leave the Arduino main loop empty. And that's it from the Arduino side. As you can see, very simple. Most of the code is actually related not directly with MDNS, but rather with the setup of the service, because the MDNS part is really simple. I've already uploaded it to my ESP32, and as you can see here, it's tried to connect, and after a while it successfully connects, and we have here the local IP address assigned to my ESP32. Yours obviously may differ depending on your network, but basically this is the IP address that we expect to obtain when looking for the service information in the Python code. So now we are going to jump to the Python code. I'm using PyCharm. It's a very nice IDE for development from JetBrains. Obviously, you can use any Python tool of your choice. I like this one. I used to use idle, but this one is also very good. And basically, we are going to depend on two modules, okay? One of them is called ZeroConf. Basically, it's an implementation of a module that allows us to precisely to query MDNS services. And the other one is requests. The requests module, it's, I would say, one of those very standard, very used Python modules that basically allows us to do HTTP requests in like a few lines of code. So it's a very, very used one. In both cases, I'm going to leave in the description how to install them. It's really trivial. The easiest way to install modules in Python, if you are acquainted with it, is using a package manager. There are a couple. In my case, I usually use pip. It's a also very used one, and you can install both of these. One command for each one to install these modules. I'm going to leave them in the description. But obviously, if you are acquainted with Python, you may install them however you prefer. So moving on to the actual code, the first thing we are going to do is importing from the ZeroConf module this class called ZeroConf. We are going to need it to register a service listener, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then from the requests module, we are going to import a request function, which basically allows us to do very simply to do a request. We are going to, for now, we are going to skip over this class definition. So the first thing we are going to do here in the actual code is to instantiate an object of this class, ZeroConf. We are going to use the constructor without any parameters, meaning there are a couple of optional parameters, but basically the default ones serve our purpose. Obviously, if you start using this library, it makes sense to analyze all the possibilities that you can use, but for here, we can use the default ones passing using the parameterless constructor. Then we have here this object, this ZeroConf object that we are going to use below. After that, we need to instantiate a class, an object of a class that will be implemented by us. In essence, I've called this class listener. We could call anything else, but basically it's a class that will be implemented by our code. And basically it will define a function which will act as a callback function that will be executed whenever a service is detected, a service is added. In our case, obviously this class could be more complex. There are other functions that can be implemented to handle other events, such as a service being updated or removed. We are not going to cover here those scenarios. We are going to stay with the simplest one, which is detecting a new service being added. But basically, it's a simple class that we'll analyze in a minute. But as you can see here, I'm already assuming that the constructor takes no arguments. And basically, we are going to instantiate here an object of this class. After this point, what we need to do is using our ZeroConf object, the one that we have just instantiated, and call this method add service listener that basically will register a listener that will be available to execute callback functions whenever one of those events that I've mentioned occurs. In our case, since we are just aiming for the addition of a new MDNS service, we are going just to implement the method, the callback method that will be executed when the service is added. But the first thing we need to do, the first argument of this add service listener method is a string representing the type of service that we want to listen on, okay? Because there are multiple service types that can be broadcasted by elements of our network, and thus we need to indicate explicitly which service type we want to listen on. And as I've said before, a service type is composed by the following strings, or by the following parts. The first one is the name of the service, and recall in our Arduino code we said that the name of our service was HTTP, and that is the name that we should put here. And like I've said before, it needs to be preceded or pre-appended by an underscore. We did not add that in the Arduino code, but under the hood, the lower level layers made sure that we have this pre-appended. Then we have here the dot, and then again we have one thing that we define in our Arduino code, which is the protocol over which our service runs. Okay, so basically service name here, and then a dot, and then the protocol, also pre-appended with the underscore. Then again another dot, and to finalize we have local, and then a final dot. So local is the domain that when we are using MDNS we need to always use. If you recall from the previous tutorial, when we were accessing the MDNS, when we were accessing the HTTP web server using MDNS to resolve an hostname, even though we defined that our hostname was ESP32, after ESP32 we had to put .local. Okay, so .local is a domain that will appear basically pretty much in every service. Past that, this is how we compose the service type and how we indicate the service type that we want to listen on. A second argument of this method, we simply pass the instance of our listener class. Obviously, again, it could be called wherever we want, this class, but basically this is the object of the class that will implement the callback methods, the callback functions that will be executed whenever a new service is added. And that's it from the part of registering this service listen. Past this point, this should be listening in the background for new services, and for us to prevent our service for our Python code to finish, I'm just here calling this input function that will pretty much block the console, waiting for a user to press the enter button to return. It will be blocked until the user does that. But again, since we have our threads running in the background doing the MDNS queries, our code will still work as expected. But after a user presses enter, we'll assume that the user no longer wants to close the program, and then we call this close method on our zeroconf object that pretty much ends all the background threads and makes sure that that zeroconf instance over which we call the close method doesn't do any more MDNS queries. So after explaining here how we register our service listener, let's check the actual implementation of our class. Again, so I call the class listener. You could call it wherever you want, as long as we implement a method with this name, add_service. This is a method of our class, and basically it should have this signature. It should receive the own instance over which the method was called, which is done using the self keyword. Then it receives an instance of a zeroconf object, which is basically the instance that has registered the callback. So for us, what is going to be passed in this parameter is our zeroconf instance. Then we will receive here a string with the service type, which is pretty much the one that we have registered to be listened to, and then the name of the service, which is different from the service type, as we'll see in a minute. After this, assuming that this callback is invoked and these parameters are passed to it by the library, having both the service type and the service name, we can call this getServiceInfo method on our zeroconf object, and this will output to us everything we need to know about our service from using a MDNS query. Basically, it will take care of getting all the information about this service, and then with this object here, we can access all the information we need. So the first thing we are going to access is the actual IP address of the service. This is done with a call to this parsed addresses method. Note that we can actually access the raw information about the address, but it is not outputted in a very nicely formatted way. Whereas here we are going to receive an array of strings. The other way it will be, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know by heart, but I believe it is an array of bytes or something similar. But I've always been using this parsed addresses method because it will return to us an array with addresses in case the service we want to get the information from is exposed in multiple interfaces. In the case of the ESP32, it is expected that this array just contains a single IP address. But again, this will be, I'm just casting it here or converting it here to a string because it's not a single address, it's a list with addresses. In our case, the list will just have one element, but basically that's why I need to call here this str function. We are going also to get the port over which the service is being exposed. As you know, when we need to reach a given service, we need to know not only its address but also the port. Basically, we can access this attribute here called port, and it will return an integer containing the port over which the service is being exposed. We have this name property that also allows us to print the service name. We could also get it here from this parameter, so it's the same. We have this server here property. It's just another way of exposing the information. It basically has the host name and the local domain. So it's pretty much another way of putting the parameters that define a service. To be honest, it's not very useful, at least I don't see much of a use for this. And then the properties here that will be, this is a property that basically contains a dictionary that that has all the properties that we have defined for our service. Again, it's not mandatory that we define properties for our service, but if we want to put here some interesting information or important information about our service, we can do it in the format of key values, and the data structure in Python that represents information aggregated in key value pairs is a dictionary, is a very common one. So in this point, basically, just to recap, we are going to print all the information that we can about our service, and then just as an additional point, show you how we can do what we can do with this information. I'm simply going to put here the to set up to create here a variable containing the endpoint, the address, the URL of our service exposed by the ESP32, and basically it's HTTP colon / then the IP address of the ESP32 that we can obtain here from the parsed addresses property. And again, since we know that the ESP32 is just exposing the service over an interface, we just have one IP address, so we want the value from index 0, and then we know that it has a route called /hello, and we are building here the URL of the endpoint we want to reach. Obviously, if we did not know beforehand that we are using the default HTTP port, which is port 80, we also have this information in our server, in our service information, so we could obviously here also put the port if it was something other than 80, if our service needed to specifically to have the port specifically here. So after this, we are just going to send a request. Using the request library, it's really trivial. You just need to call this request function, passing as first input a string with the HTTP method. It should be get, like we have exposed in the Arduino code. And that as second input, we pass the address here. Maybe address is not the best variable. I would call it instead maybe URL. It's a bit to not be confused with the IP address. So basically, this is the URL of the server that we want to reach. And then after the request is sent, we get an object representing the response, and we can access this attribute called text that should contain the response sent by the server. And we know that in our case, it should be hello world. That's it. It's quite a small Python script. Let me just run it here. So as you can see here, it is running. Okay, let's analyze it from the beginning. So our press enter to close message, just as an indicating for the user if he wants to finish the script. Then as you can see here, we have the address over which the service is exposed. Like I've said, it's an array of strings where each string is the IP address. But in our case, on our ESP32, we just have it listening on one network interface, so it is being exposed in this IP. Let me just bring it back what we have here, and as you can see, both IP addresses match, so we were able to get the correct IP address of our service. Then, as you can see, it is being exposed over port 80. Again, what we have expected, what we have exposed. Then the full name, qualified name. So basically, and this is a characteristic of MDNS, as you can see, and I believe this is a bit confusing for people who are not used to work with MDNS. Basically, the full name, let's say the qualified name, is composed by the host name, ESP32, dot, then the service name. Okay, this is the host name of the device that is exposing the service. And this part here is the service name. Okay, so these are two different things. Then we have here the protocol, okay, the transport layer protocol over which the service is exposed, and then we always have this part local domain is always a domain that is present using MDNS. Then we have the server. Here, the server, I don't find this very useful due to the following fact. If you wanted to reach this service in a URL, as we see in the previous tutorial, you would have HTTP colon / ASP32.local and then slash the actual endpoint we want to reach. Where I don't see much usefulness on this actual property that is exposed by the library is the fact that this local has this dot appended at the end. So if we wanted to use this to build the actual address, because obviously we can also reach our service if we know the host name, we can also build our URL using this ASP32.local / the endpoint we want to reach, because if the machine is capable of translating, of using MDNS to translate this local domain in an IP address, we could use this in our URL rather than directly the IP address. What I don't find that useful is that dot here appended at the end, which would force us to remove this last dot or do some kind of transformation. So at this point, I don't know why this is being exposed by the library. Probably there's some reason that I'm not aware of. If you know, leave a comment below in this video, but I don't find it so far. I did not find much of a use for this. Then we have here our properties. As I've said, they are not mandatory, but they might be useful to describe some additional information about our service. As you can see here, we have prop2 test2, prop1 test. It's not sorted, but it doesn't matter much. It's a dictionary, and that's it. And then, as you can see here, we could use the IP address to send a request, to build an URL, a valid one, send a request, and get the hello world response. Obviously, how we built the URL, it was one of the multiple ways. As I've said, we used the IP address directly. We could have used the host name. We could have extracted the host name from this information we have here. Actually, I did not find a way in this library, in this zeroconf library, to obtain just the hostname portion, the ASP32. I'm not sure if there is one way, but I did not find by digging in the library implementation. I think it would be more useful, but again, obviously from the service name or from the server property, we could also get very easily the actual host name of the ASP32, the one that is being used, and we could have built this URL in a different way. So obviously I'm just doing this for the sake of demonstration. You could obviously find easier ways or ways that suit better your application. But one way or another, we could send a request to the ASP32 and get the expected hello world response. And that's it. Very easy. So it was a very simple way to expose from the Arduino side the MDNS service, to advertise it over MDNS. I believe actually the Python code probably is a bit harder to understand. To be honest, when I was developing this, I found that the Python code was actually a bit more complex than the actual Arduino code. So the Arduino core has a very good implementation to make this simple. And again, you can start exposing your services, your ASP32 services, network services, being it HTTP server, socket server, WebSocket server, wherever you want, you can expose it using MDNS, and that way the consumers of those services won't need to know the IP address. You don't need to be printing that IP address to the serial console. You don't need to be forcing it to have a fixed number. So this offers us a lot more flexibility, and I believe this is much more suitable to be used in a real application scenario where you deploy your devices in a user home or something like that, and you want to have a seamless or a very easy way to do the initial configuration, to do auto configuration. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this video.